Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he's your principal for now. For now. And I had reasons why I said for now. Sometimes when the odds don't favor you, you take a walk. But for now, he is your principal, right? And then you listen to that interview with Bode George on 32 FM. You had so many reservations on what Bode George said. You are here to look at it and to have some counter arguments and all that. And let's start it off straight. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Bode George, the rift has been there. He says it's not personal. It's just stating the obvious. So, how obvious is the obvious?
Thank you very much, CHIKE. First and foremost, I would like to salute you, give you kudos for the beautiful job you are doing here. And also, I would like to say a very big good morning to my Egbon here, Barrister Yomi Ogunlola, who to me is a familiar foe. If you don't mind that expression. So, on the issue of Chief Bode George and Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I would like to say here that my mission here this morning is to speak on behalf of Southwest Agenda for Asiwaju 2023, which is a group of concerned Nigerians who believe so much in the ability of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to add value and take Nigeria further on the journey to greatness. Our mission, per se, is not to single out any individual group as an adversary, but rather to mend fences where necessary and mobilize full support for the realization of our cause.
So you believe some fences have fallen, right?
It is natural in the society, even outside politics. Okay. There is no way you can have individuals in a particular setting and there will not be one or two reasons for them to have disagreement or altercation, as it were. So wherever such are in existence, it is our duty in Suaga, particularly in this part of the country, to make sure that everybody realizes the need for us to come together and join forces behind this wonderful man, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
You call him wonderful. Many people have issues against him. For example, there are some negatives on him. They see him as a Lagos autocratic leader. They see him as one who owns Lagos State, gathering all these resources, allegedly, to himself, in Lagos State. The issues that Bode George, too, had against him. And then you call him a wonderful man. How wonderful is that?
And as humans, even the world in which we live is somewhat complicated. There is no way you walk and the head will not shake. If anybody today is saying that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not a good man, the person is entitled to his own opinion, and that's how I will answer it. And come to think of it, anybody who submits himself to politics in this part of the world has automatically made himself a subject of attacks, and there is no way everybody will be your friend. Even in this studio, or let me say in this organization where you work, you cannot really tell us that you are a friend of all. So you have some people who might have one or two things against you, and as such, they will be relative with you as if they don't like your face.
How do you make barrister?
And that doesn't make you a bad man. They are entitled to their opinion, and it's a matter of perception.
How do you make Barrister Yomi Ogunlola a friend of Tinubu?
Barrister Yomi Ogunlola is a born critic. He's a cynic. I've known him for quite some time now, and by training and experience and background, he's wired to be a critic, and in most cases, as a lawyer and as an opinionist, you don't expect him to be a conformist. So if he has any different opinion to any issue, that doesn't make him to be an outcast. So you should give him his respect. So he's a fantastic man.
He doesn't. Okay, Barrister Ogunlola, you don't agree with most of the ideologies of Asiwaju Bola.
But I will tell you that he too will tell you. I mean, Barrister Ogunlola will tell you that he has never had any cause to stand on the way of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the matter of maybe personal grudge or something. So he's just exercising his right.
There is no doubt about it that those who know Tinubu on a personal level cannot but admire the man in him. There is no doubt about that. I told you I was the first face and voice on his TVC, today's TVC.
Yeah.
It used to be GoTel. I was brought from Abuja to come and take over that station, and I was in strong opposition of the PDP government, as it were, and all the while I was doing that, of course, it was with utmost good faith that I was with another radical like me, somebody who wanted a better Nigeria. We had fought Abacha together. I only very slightly missed Radio Kudirat, But then a lot of things started coming up. I am against Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, not on personal basis. He has never wronged me on a personal level. Anybody aspiring to a high office, we must look at his antecedents, and that is where I have my issues with him. Look, Lagos is highly industrialized.
Yes.
It is the nation's economic capital and the home to a booming port system. The economic structure gives it a considerable advantage in terms of, for example, internally generated revenue. Will you believe it that Lagos accounted for 37% of total IGR collected by all states of the Federation in 2016? Tinubu was in charge between 1999 and 2007. But ever since then, he has held Lagos by the jugular. And if holding Lagos by the jugular had translated into a boom for that state, of course, I would be in the forefront that Tinubu should come and translate what he did in Lagos at the federal level. But that is not the case. Details of Lagos financial statements are notoriously kept opaque. The state does not publish its detailed budget. It does not publish its budget implementation reports. It does not publish audited statements. For holistic and independent assessment, there is a very low level of transparency in Lagos finances, and we are questioning that. Roads, drainage systems are overwhelmingly suboptimal. Whatever happened to the light rail? Do you know how much has gone into the light rail? And today, we still don't have anything. The schools and the hospitals, when you see them relative to the revenue accruing to that state, is disconcerting. Another one, the overhead cost of running the office of governor of Lagos State. Let me give you an example. Go and check all the facts. In 2017, it was 6 billion. 6 billion to run the office of the governor. That was significantly higher than 1.32 billion that was allocated for overhead costs for maintaining the office of the president of Nigeria in 2018. There is a wanton disregard for the sanctity of public funds in Lagos. Governors routinely award contracts without accountability. And there is no standardized performance measurement indicators. So, if we have all of these, why should we want to bring such a man at the federal level? Let me give you this. Between 1999 and 2017, Lagos generated 3.292 trillion as IGR. Between 1999 and 2017. Look at the net Federal Account and Allocations Committee allocations that came to Lagos between 2007 and 2018 was 985.78 billion naira. Look at the so-called developments in Lagos. Can you relate it with these figures that you are hearing? And yet, Bola Tinubu Ahmed has been the one in charge. So, what we are saying, how much built Dubai? How much with the advantage that Lagos has? Of course, Tinubu ought to have transformed Lagos into something greater than Dubai. But Lagos is still what it is. You can see most of the roads there, they re-award the contracts every 2 years. There are still bad roads. Look at the organization there is next to zero. Go and see what is happening in the new estates, the new cities, the new towns that are being developed. Go and look at Lekki, go and look at Aja. Go and see what is happening there. It is already becoming a slum. And not only that, let me just, before I allow my brother come in, there is also this issue.
I'm even having a fear that you are not here to make it monotonous anyway.
No. It will get you your turn. You have enough time.
I can say that you came with a prepared voluminous test, which is wheeling out. So
because I researched on it, I knew you were going to ask me what is the problem. Another thing is this: the issue of people coming together, like minds coming together, to form a political party, and one man saying, I made all of them. Tinubu even went as far as saying, before clear lights, that I made all of them are under my armpit.
Well,
what kind of a system?
He still made another statement on Wednesday when he went to the Senate. So we'll listen to him later on. His speech with the senators, the APC caucus.
I will respond to that.
So we'll listen to that and we'll respond to that. Now,
I would like to
Mr. Shadari, Barrister is saying that Tinubu could not manage Lagos State well. How then do you give him the entire country to manage?
I hope I will not be forced to deviate from my original mission, which I had stated in the course of my introduction on this program today.
If you deviate, we'll call you back.
because my intention is to come on the program today and make more friends. So, and I won't be disappointed.
Bear your mind, and then we'll still be friends.
If Barrister leave this place with his warped opinion about Tinubu, let me be honest with you. I'm aware Barrister Okunola lives and works in Ibadan, in Oyo State here. And if I'm not mistaken, he's from Ondo State.
That is where you got it wrong.
If I'm not mistaken, you. But one thing is certain. You are not a Lagosian.
I am a born and bred Lagosian.
Okay. I wonder why you are so passionate about Lagos, such that you reel out your figures and submission with utmost comfort. But I will tell you something. Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu today is not the governor of Lagos State. He left that office in 2007, and there is no fact, no record that points at it that he has a direct or indirect hold of Lagos. You are a lawyer, and I believe that you know what it means if you come on here to mislead the populace. So if you don't have the fact, please don't go there. You talked about Dubai, but I would like to put it to you that long before Bola Ahmed Tinubu came on board and became a force to reckon with, because before he became popular on the political turf, there was Lagos, there was Nigeria. We know where Lagos was before 1999. We know where Lagos is today. We have many states in the country. We have states that have monthly access to bogus allocation by virtue of their opportunity to have crude oil as resources in their domain, and we know how much they collect. Lagos, as of today, is not one of them until recently when oil was discovered, and I doubt whether Lagos has been benefiting from that derivative, monthly 13% derivative. Be that as it may, the point we are trying to make today is not that we are here to make Bola Ahmed Tinubu look like a superhuman or an error-free person or an angel. No. Far from it. Far from it. We are concerned about the fact that we should not submit ourselves to the same error of the past, which made people to start crying immediately Awolowo died, and they started saying, it was the best president Nigeria never had. So people realized when he died that they made a mistake in 1979 and 1983. So the same thing happened when MK Abiola died. People started to express their mind. They started exhibiting their regret. So today, the major thing I would like to say is that if Barrister Yomi Ogunlola and his co-travelers feel that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not the best man for the job, I will challenge them to look inward and come up with a better person, a better individual who can go all out to sell himself to the electorate and win the election in 2023. Then he will take it from there and turn maybe Ibadan or Lagos, as it were, to another Dubai. So instead of wasting our time on besmashing the character of an innocent individual, so it is not even fair on our part to make it a point of duty that we must run him down because we don't like his face or because of some erroneous impression we have developed.
He said there's nothing personal about
so
this. We're looking at ideology.
But his expression runs contrary to his submission earlier.
I have given you facts and figures.
Where are the facts? Self-made facts.
I gave them to you.
We are the facts.
I
put it to you that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is today not the governor of Lagos State. We have Babajide Sanwo-Olu is the governor of Lagos State. Before him, we had Ambode. Before Ambode, we had Fashola, who succeeded Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
What happened to Fashola? What happened to Ambode?
Tell us what happened to them.
You and I know.
Let me ask you, Mr. Shadari.
You and I know who calls the shots in Lagos. The facts are there for everybody to see.
You are a lawyer, and you should deal with facts only, not hearsay or founded rumor.
I am not dealing with.
As what?
I am not dealing with hearsay.
So Bola Tinubu calls the shot. So does he occupy the government house in? Let me
ask you, Mr. Wale Shadari.
Does it hold the pen that signs all the documents?
Let me ask you this: is Bola Ahmed Tinubu a political godfather in Lagos State?
Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a national figure on the political turf in the country.
He's a national leader of the APC,
Of the APC.
Yeah, so he is a political
Lagos
godfather.
Lagos is his base. He's a leader. He's a leader in Lagos. He's a leader. You see, he's an active stakeholder in the affairs of
Does he call the shots?
APC.
Does he call the shots?
As a leader of our party, he should have his say on the affairs of the party. That's all. Not on the governance of the state.
So he doesn't determine who becomes governor in Lagos State. Is that what you are saying?
He's a leader of our party. He's a leader of our party in Lagos State. You see, let me tell you, nothing happens spontaneously in politics. Whatever success you might want to lay claim, must be a function of many factors.
You know, when a
like
lion
your
roars in the
antecedents.
jungle,
Yeah.
every other animal will bow down.
It is because of what God has made lion to be. So lion did not make itself. So God made lion what it is.
Let's leave God out of this. Let's leave God out of this. He's the lion of body.
The success which Bola Ahmed Tinubu has become today is a function of grace. God has been merciful on him, and he too has sacrificed a lot. He has done what many people could not do in their prime. So if today is reaping the fruit of his labor, so I think nobody should have any grudge about that. So instead, we should know what we can do to our own personal life to make us equally successful. That is it.
All right, let's look at this before we do anything. Bola Ahmed Tinubu met with the party's Senate caucus at the National Assembly on Wednesday. Tinubu's visit comes barely 2 weeks to the APC's National Convention. Remember, he had in January informed President Muhammad Buhari of his ambition to run for the office of next year's election. At the meeting, Tinubu said, with the 2023 general elections coming close, he cannot run the race by himself. Hence, his decision to seek the backing of the National Assembly, and which he said will help him successfully actualize his ambition. He appealed to the senators to help him win the primaries at the convention so he can succeed President Buhari. Let's listen to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the Senate on Wednesday.
We are just 20 years in democratic governance. Our party, APC, was united in 2015. I was a very active part of the merger. But I show you one example of my time then. When the constitution of APC was being written, they called me. What do I want? I've given it all. I will be satisfied with anything. Anything you call me or any name you assign to me, because as long as this merger is successful, I have a prospect, I have a future, I have a duty to excel. Somebody ran to me telling me that, hey, they say you are the party leader, but that party leadership is not defined yet. I should intervene. I said no. I was not going to intervene. If it's going to disrupt the timetable of the committee in charge of it, we should leave them to do their job. I was with Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari that evening. And it's somebody who gives you an assignment and leave you to do it. So I didn't want to intervene. They called me the party leader. They didn't define the role. I look for leadership meaning as I know it, and I continue to play that role. They didn't divide it in our constitution. I continue to accept it. Let me tell you about myself at this stage. I'm a contented person. I called for this audience, and I'm grateful to you. My background is in accountancy and finance. That's what I went to university for, Chicago State University. I was a distinguished scholar. I won many awards. And I graduated with honors. Honors. I was recruited by 5 of the big 8 accounting firms. They offered me jobs. But I chose the one that promised to give me audit exposure and assignment to organizations having roots in Nigeria. I was exposed. I don't want to waste your time. To many of big companies and the corporate bodies, I was well trained. And when I said it was time for me to go back to my country, Mobu transferred me. I came home. Don't be surprised. The opposition and the lessons of life that you will learn as this our journey of democracy is put together. Don't worry about people stabbing you in the back, people running you into something blood. Believe in God. Determination, consistency, and perseverance will pull you through and will pull us through. Why am I here? I came for your counsel, partnership, and support. Nigeria has come to that stage when we need a change of baton. Mr. President is about to serve his second term in full. The election is coming up in February. We have various programs that I don't have to restate here. Nomination process, primary process, and all of that. I can't do it by myself, and I can't do it by sitting at home, expecting that many friends, personal friends that I have here will do it for me. I believe jointly we can do it. You can back me successfully for the nomination of my lifetime ambition. I've told Mr. President of my ambition, and I've announced it. But if the counsel of wise men is anything to go by, you see some advert. If you want to go fast, do it alone. But if you want to get there, get success, and go there, definitely go with a team. I'm asking for that teammanship to get me over the hump of nomination process. And from that hump to get me to the presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
All right, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu there on Wednesday at the Senate, where he had a meeting with the APC caucus in the Senate. We'll go on a short break now, and when we come back, we'll dissect that meeting. I have Professor Remi Ayede here and Barrister Yomi Ogunlola and our guest, Olawale Shadare. Don't go away, it's the Podium.
Stay tuned to 32 FM 94.9.
Irú èyí ò ṣẹlẹ̀ rí o. Ó mà lé ní mílíọ̀nù kan ènìyàn tí ìjọba ilẹ̀ Canada ti pinnu láti gbà láàyè kó wá gbé kó sì máa ṣiṣẹ́ ní orílẹ̀-èdè náà. Ṣùgbọ́n o, ọ̀lẹ ò lè gbẹ́lu wa làṣà tíjọba ilẹ̀ Canada ń dá. Ẹni tó bá lè ṣiṣẹ́ nìkan ni wọ́n ń wá. Jonathan King Limited ti ṣetán láti ràn ọ́ lọ́wọ́ láti di ọmọ onílẹ̀ lórílẹ̀‐èdè náà bí o bá jẹ́ akọ́ṣẹ́mọṣẹ́ oníṣẹ́ ọwọ́ àbí akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ gboyè. Bó sì jẹ́ o fẹ́ lọ kàwé ní orílẹ̀‐èdè Canada wà lára orílẹ̀‐èdè tó dára tó sì rọjú jùlọ láti kàwé lágbàáyé. O lè jẹ́ akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ kó sì tún máa ṣiṣẹ́. Bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni àǹfààní owó ìrànwọ́ wà àti ètò ẹ̀yáwó kàwé tí kò lélẹ̀ nú. Tètè lọ gba fọ́ọ̀mù tiẹ̀ ní Jonathan King Limited, Ajakini àti Ìkẹfà, Cocoa House, Ìbàdàn. Ajakini, God's Grace Plaza, 65 Allen Avenue, Ìkẹjà. Àti The Bronx Bookshop lẹ́bàá Our Saviour's Cathedral, Ìjẹ̀bú Òde.
Ọjọ́ 19 oṣù kẹrin ọdún yìí ni ìforúkọsílẹ̀ yóò wá sópin o.
Ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀ tó papọ̀ mọ́rọ̀rùn iléeṣẹ́ Yemsond Enterprises ló gún wá sí Yemsond Enterprises òdú tí kìí ṣàmọ̀fólókò nídìí èròjà ohun èlò ilé tó ń lona lóríṣiríṣi bíi tẹlifíṣọ̀n, freezer, air conditioner, washing machine, fíríjì rabandẹ̀rabandẹ̀ àti gas cooker lórí ìrànràn. Báwo lẹ ṣe ń fẹ́ sí lórí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ohun èlò ilé tó ń lona Yemsond Enterprises ló mójúlẹ́jà ẹ̀ yàtọ̀ sí tẹlẹ́nu torí nǹkan míì kọ́ wọ́n dé àwọn ṣe jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ mi díje ló tún rọjú fún gbogbo oníbàárà wọn. Ní báyìí àrà tuntun tó tún rọ̀ bí òjò ní Yemsond Enterprises ní tàwọn ọ̀kadà tuntun tó fi mọ́ jẹnẹrétọ̀ tí wọ́n tún kó wọlé látòkè òkun. àjẹpẹ́ boko ọba ti jìnnà ilá kìí kó. Yemson Enterprises kalẹ̀ sí olówó tí ń fowó ṣàánú business complex Ìwó Road Ìbàdàn. ẹ̀ka wọn sì tún wà lẹ́bàá mọ́ṣáláṣí ìjagun gbági Old Ife Road Ìbàdàn tó fi mọ́lá dojúkọ Nipco filling station Àpáta pẹ̀lú ọlọ́nà filling station Àkànfẹ́ Road Amúlòkó Ìbàdàn. bẹ́ẹ̀ ni wọ́n wà nílé Ifẹ̀ àtòṣogbo nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun. ẹ pè wọ́n sórí 08038789238. Yemson Enterprises òǹrajà pàdé òǹtajà ìrọ̀rùn dé.
Rise up to the day's breakfast. Yummy. With Mama Do's spread for bread. Yummy. We love his rich and buttery taste. Yummy. We love to have it with our bread. Yummy. Nutritious. Mama Do's spread for bread. We like it. Mama Do's spread for bread. Delicious. Mama Do's spread for bread. We love it. Mama Do's spread for bread.
New Mama Do's spread for bread. It gives you the right nutrients and energy to be your best each new day. New Mama Do's spread for bread. Deliciously nourishing for a bright start.
Egbògi kan ti délẹ̀ yìí. Egbògi àtẹ̀jẹ̀ ṣe ni. Ó dára fẹ̀jẹ̀ gidi gan. Governmental cleanser ló ń jẹ́ o. Governmental cleanser ló ń jẹ́ o.
Ojú rẹ̀ ṣàǹjọ̀lọ̀ lójoojúmọ́ kí làṣírí ẹ wà rí.
Governmental cleanser ni.
Já mi sí ọ̀rẹ́.
Governmental cleanser. Egbògi àtẹ̀jẹ̀ṣe tí bádọ̀tí ara wọ̀ yá ìjà rẹ̀ wọ́n mọ́lẹ̀ ṣe wọ́n yẹbẹyẹbẹ. Inú tó ń kú tó ń dàrú gbòdògbòdò. Kò bára rẹ̀ èrí inú ẹ̀jẹ̀. Amọ̀nà ti dé o. Governmental cleanser. Egbògi àtẹ̀jẹ̀ṣe tí a fi ewé àti egbò ṣe ní ọ̀nà ti gbàlódé. NAFDAC Fòǹtẹ̀lù MA1 Nigeria Limited ni wọ́n gbé Governmental cleanser jáde. A wà ní nọ́mbà 17 Ọba Akínyẹlé off Adeogun Street Aláàfin Avenue Olúyọ̀lé Estate Ring Road Ìbàdàn. Telephone 08034051533 fún títà àti rírà. Ìwọ náà darapọ̀ mọ́ wa. Governmental cleanser àmọ̀tẹ́kùn egbòogi tí ya gbogbo kòkòrò inú ẹ̀jẹ̀ wẹ́lẹ́wẹ́lẹ́.
When the people became silent,
the government became oppressive. It's time to lend your voice to politics.
On 32 FM 94.9.
All right, welcome back. It's still the Podium on 32 FM 94.9. I have Professor Remi Ayede here, Barrister Yomi Ogunlola, and our guest, Olawale Shadari, who is the Vice Chairman, Media Directorate of Media, Swagger 23, Oyo State Chapter. Well, we've been looking at Shiwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Before we went on that break, you listened to his speech, brief speech at the Senate there. Let me start with you, Prof. Bola Ahmed Tinubu seemed very, very serious, and some will say desperate to becoming the president of the country. Going to the Senate, I think this is the first of its kind. Someone going to the Senate to canvass for votes to win the primaries this time around.
I think he has done very unusual things. He also was the first to announce his candidacy by visiting the president to let him know that he was going to contest for the presidency. And it's very unusual. Then after that, he has gone around traditional rulers, especially in the southwest, trying to mobilize them, and still on these primaries. It seems as if the primaries are going to be conducted outside the APC because he has reached beyond the APC in trying to do that. One would have expected that he will mobilize his lieutenant, those who he claimed to have produced, who are still members of the APC, and give them the responsibility, to reach out to their various spheres of influence to garner vote for him. But it seems he's going around
himself.
It's a very strange behavior, which, as you suggested, seemed to suggest desperation, and it's really doesn't speak well of him as a confident candidate. One would have expected that since he has been a kingmaker for many years, he would have made a lot of people who will be reaching out, around the nooks and crannies of Nigeria to canvass for support for him. I don't know why he has to do that himself. And then traditionally, Nigerian politicians normally will move with huge entourages. If you look at the places he has gone, He's been mentioning names, throwing up names, but those people don't accompany him to those places. It's really very unusual.
Barrister Ogunlola, is this an act of desperacy or this is an act of seriousness? Does it mean business?
Well, there is no doubt about it that desperation has come into it because a man wishes to fulfill what he calls his life ambition. But to us, we feel that desperation is not a right quality for Nigeria's leader. We have an example to show for that. Buhari was very, very desperate to be in office. And of course, the APC assisted him and brought him to power. So I see a lot of desperation. There is also something circulating in the news, and I seriously hope that it is not true, that money exchanged hands in the National Assembly. I'm not sure. I'm just saying. I read it in the news. I hope, and that's why I said, I hope it is not true.
But
because
the tradition. Tradition.
Let me make my submission.
Okay.
If it is true, it will be a violation of the Electoral Act, which forbids the inducement of voters, whether it be for purposes of primaries or the main election. Inducement is frowned out by the law. So if that story is confirmed to be true, then I hope something will be done about it.
All right, Mr. Shadari, is your principal desperate?
You see, I was even taken aback when my referred prof was expressing his disappointment as what Bola just did. For me, I would say I'm happy that this is happening now because I, as an individual, I missed the direct experience of Awolowo's erudition.
Okay.
I also missed the direct experience of Akintola's oration.
Okay.
And people like that. But today, if another enigma is doing this to my
to your generation, right?
In my generation,
Okay.
I think is a very good thing for me.
Now you are comparing him to the names you just mentioned.
Don't misconstrue my submission.
No, from what you
I'm
said.
saying that, you see, politics is all about persuasion. You consult. You go directly to where you need support. So you go there, you convince them, you talk to them, you feel their pulse. You let them see the reason why they should support you. So you don't delegate. In politics, if you are so serious about your ambition, you see, you are saying that this is unprecedented, nobody had ever done something like that. But it's a good thing that what we had not experienced in the past, and we see it as an ideal thing, somebody is now taking it upon himself to do it. So that means he's showing the way to others.
Don't you think it's showing us some issues of confidence, lack of confidence? Like what Prof said,
how do you mean?
if he was confident enough as a kingmaker, he shouldn't be going around.
He didn't go to meet all the federal lawmakers, only the APC caucus in the assembly. And if you don't know it, let me tell you now, those people are statutory delegates to the National Convention and the other issue that will come up later when the issue of primaries will come up. These people will form the bulk of electorate, those who will vote at the convention. If today Bola Ahmed Tinubu feels the need to take the campaign to them in order to secure their support, I think he has done the rightful thing, and nobody can query him for that. And apart from that, Nigeria is a complex society, and if you want to be a president of Nigeria, you must not take it as a tea party. You must show every iota of seriousness. You must tell the world that you have the passion for this thing and you are ready to go all out, not to leave any stone unturned. You see, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has exhibited that he has this diplomacy. he has the experience, he has the foresight, he has the exposure, he has the tact. The antecedent is there for him, and he has the network. So, also, he can boast of the support base. So, he has people he can call his constituents who are always ready to do it. That's what I'm doing now. You see, you said he lays claims to having made some people, but none of these people has come out to tell you that he didn't make me. They won't do that. They won't do that. So it's a statement of fact, and we can point to it. Like Professor Ayede is here. He has made a whole lot of people, as a university done. Those people, if they don't want to be an ingrate, they must give him his credit. That is our Gao. We passed through him. He molded us. So he will be happy whenever he sees any of his products doing well in life. So there is no harm in that. So, and we have other people who are bad influence to others. They can't be proud of being made a bad example in society. But Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you see, every person has his own USP, unique selling proposition. If you are able to take advantage of this USP, and you, in the end, you achieve your aim, that makes you a special person.
So, thank you. I want to throw two very good questions to my brother.
Go ahead.
He is a very wonderful representative of the APC. Now, the first question is this. According to him, you know, he likened the role Tinubu has played with that of a lecturer who has brought up a lot of people. I want to ask him now, his own idea of politics for Nigeria that will free Nigeria from the shackles of oppression, slavery, impoverishment, and all of that. Is it better that it is an individual that is making people or the political party? I will ask him that as my number one question. And then the second question is concerning those people he said were made. What is the relationship between Tinubu and, say, Fayemi, Aregbesola, Moise Banire, what's his name now? Ambode.
And also Barrister Yobi Ogunlola.
You know, say me no day them camp. You know, because the reason why I asked the first question, Nigerians have been clamoring for a system that works. In other words, we don't want a situation where power overtakes process. A situation where power overtakes process can never work right for Nigeria. So we don't want strong men. We want strong institutions.
Let me assist you a little, Barrister. Let me assist you a little. There is no man on this planet Earth that will live forever. We will come today, we play your part, then you leave. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is today here with us on Earth. Tomorrow he won't be there again. Tomorrow we, as individuals, won't be there. You are saying this all because Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a popular person in Nigeria today. We have many political players who had come before him, who are still living today, but nobody records with them again. It is not because they are that bad, but it's that Providence has been good to him. That's why his name keeps resonating on the turf. So if Bola Ahmed Tinubu today says that he has actually assisted some people to realize their ambition, I don't think there is any harm in that. If you as an individual too, you have some people you have assisted to achieve one aim or the other, you have every right to say it wherever you are. That this person, I have assisted him. Let that person now come out to
answered my question.
So what is your question?
The question is the system that you envisage.
The system cannot run itself. It is individuals, people that will run the system. Bola Ahmed Tinubu has never for once been a governor in any other state apart from Lagos. and he left in 2007. So he throws his weight behind the best at any given circumstance.
You say he has continued to
He
be on the
discovers
top as what?
As a political player, as an active player.
Active player.
Active
Playing
player.
what? As an excuse me, as an active player.
Yes.
The APC has been in government going now to 8 years. And of course, the result of, their governance is there for the people.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not a minister, he's not the president.
But he's the chairman, he's the head of
the national leader of the APC, right?
APC.
What role does the constitution give to a national leader of the party?
You said he has always done well, bringing out people
when he was
at any circumstance,
between
right?
1999 and 2007, he did well.
Are you saying the national leader of a party should go to sleep?
He doesn't have any constitutional role.
When the party is not performing optimally in terms of governance, that he should go to sleep in that respect.
Probably he wants to come to fix the
Excuse me.
Professor Ayede, you have the floor.
Let me come in. I think he has made a very important point, which directly relates to what we have said before. He said it's innovative.
Yeah.
It's not. We shouldn't take it as a minus for him that he's reaching out to those in the National Assembly and elsewhere. I remember what he has done is to put himself on the pedestal. If you remember when he went to see the president to announce his intention to run, what he did at that time was to put himself for assessment and for comment. And the first thing that struck me was that it was the report he brought from the presidency, that the president did not ask me not to run. Now, that's not a positive statement. He should have told us the president encouraged me to run, or the president is in full support of my candidacy. That would have been more inspiring to Nigerians and his followers.
Maybe you missed it. He actually said that the president actually told him to continue with his campaign program and reach out to all concerned, relevant stakeholders.
Then also listen to what the Lawan said. He didn't even refer to his candidacy. He said he was impressed by the fact that he has worked for the political party, and is committed to the party continuing to win the election. And that is what they find commendable about the speech that is made.
He didn't refer to his candidacy.
No, he didn't refer to his candidacy.
Very, very important.
Very, very important to me. So those are they don't, for me as a political scientist.
Lawan as the number 3 man in the country is occupying that office as a player in the Nigerian system.
That's
not
right.
As a custodian of the APC
of the party.
toga of the party. So he's not here by virtue of the fact that he's from APC. So it's because he has been elected and he has been so he's here expecting that at a later date another individual or other individuals will come to do the same thing which Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done. So he was just being diplomatic. So he anticipated that later some other people will come. How many people will now expect him to endorse? If he's going to endorse anybody, that will not be on the floor of the Senate.
So you see, that is actually the bottom line, because these politics are not supposed to be played, in the formal arena. Since we have not even started, you're supposed to be reaching out informally, visiting people. All this going to the National Assembly, it's like you are formalizing. It's an institution of government.
It's like indirectly
and
endorsing.
why do you have to go to the parliament to do so? So why don't you invite them to an event?
Prof, if you have been to...
He had the 70th anniversary and birthday coming and all of that. It's a very... And traditionally, that's how politicians behave. At the wedding ceremonies, at social events, that's when they meet, they discuss. Nobody goes to the National Assembly.
The question I want to ask is this, like what Prof just said now. Would other candidates, other aspirants be allowed to visit the National Assembly for the same purpose?
Excuse me. Between 2011 and 2014, I had this privilege of being in the National Assembly as an aide to a serving senator at that time. So I know the workings of the National Assembly. You as an ordinary Nigerian, pardon me the use of that word, you have every right to visit the National Assembly.
That is true.
To pay a courtesy visit on any of the, or even if you have the opportunity, you can write the National Assembly, either the class of the Senate or the class of the
absolutely
that you want to visit them for a purpose.
Yeah.
They will certainly grant you an audience.
Definitely.
That's what Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done. And the meeting did not hold at the plenary.
Okay.
So they had many caucus rooms. So we had the entertained visitors. So it was one of those rooms inside one of them that the meeting was held. So
Mr. Shadari,
are you saying this is a fine precedent that Tinubu has laid again?
Fantastic president.
Okay.
Fantastic.
So it means any other aspirant can go to the Senate, call for a meeting.
It is their right.
It is their right.
Yes.
It is their right.
It is their right to write the Senate.
What is
the caucus that we want to visit you to tell you this? If they have the opportunity, they have the chance, they have the time, they will welcome you.
Let's see how it unfolds.
Now, this is not time for campaigns. However, I want to ask you this question: what is Asiwaju's selling point?
I tell you what, I've stated it because of the.
Apart from all these things you've stated, innovation, education, and all that, what is his selling point?
Is the unique being in him. Somebody who is equipped with all these.
Are you not bothered about his age? Are you not bothered about his health?
What can you tell us about his health?
I'm just asking you. Are you?
You
not
must have
bothered?
examined him, being a doctor that you are.
No, I'm just asking you. I'm just asking you because
what's the concern about his health?
Lately, he went abroad for medical checkup. Also, medical tourism. Will he also do that when he becomes president?
As you are here now.
Are we looking at a pro max?
As a young man that you are, you can't be certain about
that I'm as healthy as he is.
As he is, you can't.
Wonderful.
So every human being.
That's another political point, right?
So, well, if you say so. So you see, we can't continue to dwell on hearsays and unfounded rumors to judge any individual. It will be unfair.
It is not a rumor, Mr. Shadari. It is not a rumor. It's on ground.
Okay, is it right?
No,
let me ask. Is it right?
No,
listen, Shadari.
There's a format.
Mr. Shadari.
Who are the guests?
Hold on, Mr. Shadari.
Members of the panel. You are the guests.
Hold on.
Maybe he didn't explain that.
Calm down,
Mr. Shadari. Mr. Shadari.
Calm down.
Mr. Shadari. It is on record that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu left the shores of this country to London for a medical checkup. And then you want to ask, will he also do this if he becomes president? Will he also be looking at someone who invests so much in medical tourism?
This morning, as I'm here talking with you this morning, many people have left this country this morning for the same purpose, and nobody cares because of who they are. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a public figure. He's the most talked about politician in Nigeria today. So even if people have the opportunity, they will tell you what he has eaten this morning. They will tell you when he slept yesterday. They will tell you where he intends to visit today. So it's because he is a senator of hot highs, and you can't take that one away from him. We see it as a compliment for him, and we like it that way. So we are not bothered.
Your final thoughts on this segment?
Well, what I am saying is, like Shadari has said, I do agree with him to an extent. Tinubu is a good man as an individual, but we are looking at the totality of Tinubu as fit and proper for the position of Mr. President, especially at this time in our history. And some of us are questioning his credentials for that.
Professor Remi Ayide?
Yeah, I'm just wondering why Shadari has not focused on the program that he has outlined. And because he said something about, is it a 7-point agenda or something?
No, I didn't do that. That would be tantamount to campaign.
I think
so we are not here for campaign.
It was just the personal qualities.
Because the point that we are asking
he raised the qualities, the personal qualities.
Yeah, because he's actually saying, from what he said, does it show that he understands the challenges that we face in Nigeria today, and then the issues that are biting Nigerians as citizens? Did they feature in some of the statements that he has made?
Prof, thank you very much. One thing about Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is that he always realizes the fact that no man is an island. No man is qualified to be called an oasis. One thing he does well is that he looks for the best people to deliver at any given opportunity.
And just when they are just going to show that they have capacity, he throws them away.
No. He doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. That is why you have many people today who remain his loyalists over time.
Like
so
you.
In your state today, you have Senator Soji Akanbi, you have Honorable Bosun Oladele, you have Honorable Sunday Adepoju Omoyin, and many other people like that. You have Lapido, Abatunde Lapido, who have been his loyalists since the days of the SDP, and today they remain with him. And you have a multitude of people like that. You see, Bola Ahmed Tinubu will not give the job of a carpenter to a tailor. He knows the best person for any given assignment.
So you have agreed now that he is a political godfather from your statement now.
He is a unique being.
You just made it clear now that he is a political godfather.
He's an active player
who
knows what to do at any given circumstance.
The active class captain, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Lawley Shadare, thank you for featuring on the podium this morning.
It's my pleasure.
Don't go away, dear listener. We shall be looking at Charles Soludo, the new governor of Anambra State. He's the tier-rubber governor of Anambra State.
Don't forget the slapping saga.
As the case may be, well, some of the events that overtook the inauguration ceremony, very brief but classy inauguration ceremony. What is the fate of Anambra State in the next 4 years? Wike and Obaseki, what is the rift all about? Why are they quarreling? They are in the PDP. Wike has made some statements. Obaseki, through his deputy, Philip Shuaibu, has made some statements. We'll look at all these on the podium this morning. Stay tuned. It's still the podium. Don't go away.
Stay tuned to 32 FM 94.9.
Right after the day's breakfast. Yummy. With Mama does spread for bread. Yummy. We love his rich and buttery taste. Yummy. We love to have it with our bread. Yummy. Nutrition. Mama does spread for bread. We like it. Mama does spread for bread. Delicious. Mama does spread for bread. We love it. Mama does spread for bread.
New Mama Spread for Bread. It gives you the right nutrients and energy to be your best each new day. New Mama Spread for Bread. Deliciously nourishing for a bright start.
Egbògi kan ti délẹ̀ yìí. Egbògi àtẹ̀jẹ̀ ṣe ni. Ó dára fẹ̀jẹ̀ gidi gan. Governmental cleanser ló ń jẹ́ o. Governmental cleanser ló ń jẹ́ o.
Ojú rẹ̀ ṣàǹjọ̀lọ̀ lójoojúmọ́ kí làṣírí ẹ wà rí.
Governmental cleanser ni.
Já mi sí ọ̀rẹ́.
Governmental cleanser. Egbògi àtẹ̀jẹ̀ṣe tí bádọ̀tí ara wọ̀ yá ìjà rẹ̀ wọ́n mọ́lẹ̀ ṣe wọ́n yẹbẹyẹbẹ. Inú tó ń kú tó ń dàrú gbòdògbòdò. Kò bára rẹ̀ èrí inú ẹ̀jẹ̀. Amọ̀nà ti dé o. Governmental cleanser. Egbògi àtẹ̀jẹ̀ṣe tí a fi ewé àti egbò ṣe ní ọ̀nà tìgbàlódé. NAFDAC Fòǹtẹ̀lù ME1 Nigeria Limited ni wọ́n gbé Governmental cleanser jáde. A wà ní nọ́mbà 17 Ọba Akínyẹlé off Adeogun Street Aláàfin Avenue Olúyọ̀lé Estate Ring Road Ìbàdàn. Telephone 08034051533 fún títà àti rírà. Ìwọ náà darapọ̀ mọ́ wa. Governmental cleanser àmọ̀tẹ́kùn egbòogi tí ya gbogbo kòkòrò inú ẹ̀jẹ̀ wẹ́lẹ́wẹ́lẹ́.
ọ̀rọ̀ jáde lọ lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ pàṣẹ tẹ̀lé wọn jọ.
àdúrà wùlí ọ̀gànjọ́ òru lórí ìkànnì yìí 32 FM 94.9 láàrin aago méjìlá sáago kan òru ní wùlí olórun alààyè Professor Amoju Authority bàbá orí òkè ògo ẹni tí Ọlọ́run fi àṣírí ayé ẹni pẹ̀lú ọ̀nà àbáyọ yóò fi máa sọ̀rọ̀ àṣẹ súre fún gbogbo ènìyàn lọ́gànjọ́ àdúrà wùlí ọ̀gànjọ́ òru lórí ètò yìí ní àṣẹ ọ̀rọ̀ látẹnu wùlí Amoju Authority yóò fi máa lé gbogbo ogun tó tòru dẹ̀dẹ̀ wọlé jáde àǹfààní ìtúsílẹ̀ lórí afẹ́fẹ́ lè yí o ìwọ náà darapọ̀ lóru òní fún ìrìn agbára tó máa darí ọ̀rọ̀ òwúrọ̀ lásáyé rẹ̀ látẹnu wòlíì Amoju Authority bàbá orí òkè ògo àìgbọ́dọ̀ má gbọ́ làdúà ọ̀gànjọ́ òru lálẹ́ òní fún ìrànlọ́wọ́ àdúà 08112322222 orí òkè ògo àṣejìrẹ́ opposite Coca-Cola àṣejìrẹ́ ń bàdàn lóṣù nígbàwọ́ ẹ̀ àdúà wòlíì ọ̀gànjọ́ òru testimony tó tẹ̀lé ìwọ ló ní.
Just because you do not take an interest in politics doesn't mean politics won't take an interest in you.
The funds spent were properly spent because we got them from intervention funds.
Only you waka come. There is God.
I don't know which party my wife belongs to, but she belongs to my kitchen and my living room and the other room.
Stay in tune with politics on 32 FM 94.9.
Safa sapeli sizo simnyama Iwasafa
Isizo saba
Kamula mo
Anichaleni ko
Kalize Wemaye wemodo Safa sapeli sizo simnyama Iwasafa
Isizo saba
Kamula mo
Anichaleni ko
Kalize Wemaye yakala Safa peli sizo simnyama Iwasafa
Isizo saba
Alamula
Anichaleni ko
Kalize Wemaye wemodo
All right, welcome back. It's the Podium on 32 FM 94.9. From his local Isuofia town to the over 20 international organizations he consulted for, to the Central Bank of Nigeria, to the Anambra State Government House, Chukwuma Charles Soludo, the former Nigerian Central Bank governor, has patiently and actively waited for 12 years to become an elected governor of Anambra State after he first contested the 2010 governorship election. A long wait, you may say, that was worth waiting for. Although not without being tutors and witnessed twists along the glorious path. At 10 a.m. precisely on Thursday, 17th March 2022, the Chief Judge of Anambra State, Justice Onoche Anyachebelo, administered an oath of office to Chukwuma Soludo as the governor of Anambra State, bringing to a glorious end the administration of Chief Willie Maduaburo Chukwu Obiano, who has served 2 terms in office as governor. Soludo, from the first day, the day he was elected as governor, was prepared for the greater work ahead. As a governor, he knows that his biggest task is to instill intangible hope in the Anambra and in the Igbo generally. To secure a more just and prosperous homeland, Governor Soludo derives his contacts with Anambra people from 3 seminal documents. The first one, which he mentioned, was the Vision 2070, a 50-year development plan, which he chaired the drafting of the whole manifesto there. The second one is the Soludo Solution, a people's manifesto for a greater Anambra. And lastly, the Transition Committee combined report, which built upon the first 2. The Transition Committee was headed by Obi Ezekwesili. His administration targets to meet today's and tomorrow's challenges by charting a new course for the state, peace and security policy, economic transformation, competitive and progressive social agenda, governance, rule of law, and value reorientation. Charles Chukwuma Soludo, the Executive Governor of Anambra State. Professor Yemi Ayede, what is the future of Anambra State moving forward with a Charles Soludo as a governor? You should be proud of that man.
Well, Soludo is a very dynamic intellectual, and happily for the Anambra people, he has a good mix of the ivory tower and the streets, what we call a combination of the town and gown experience. I think he has raised a lot of hope, and he's a governor that is beginning his tenure with very clear blueprints about where he wants Anambra to be. And I think it's particularly very important to look at him as somebody who is already looking beyond the 4 years tenure. In fact, looking beyond the 8 years tenure that is possible for him. Talking about a 50-year agenda for Anambra State. And I think it's the first of its kind. And it's the kind of thing that we expect Nigeria to do in a larger context. The highest we have had was the Vision 2020, which was about 20 years at that time. The Vision 2010 was also about, I think about 10 years actually. And this is the first time we are thinking about 50 years vision. I think that's very commendable. But I think he faces an uphill task. You know the politics of Anambra State. Apart from the fact that they have peculiarly been very loyal to APGA, which is one peculiarity of the Anambra politics. The second is that Anambra State is a very difficult state in the sense that there are many forces, there are many power centers in the state. And I think one of the things Soludo that will show that Soludo is serious or is able to do a lot of the things he's promising is his capacity to reconcile these forces and bring them on board to share in this, to buy into this vision, and then allow him to operate. Otherwise, it is one thing to have a vision, it is one thing to have the blueprints worked out, but it's another thing to bring them into concrete reality. And I think that's where the challenge is. I'm particularly happy that he added value orientation as one of the policies that he will need to look at, because it's very critical. I will actually look forward to see how that will come about, given the fact, one, that Anambra is not an island of its own. It exists within the larger Nigerian society, and intergovernmental relation is very critical in trying to get things done at the state level, even at the national level. But he's lucky, he has also operated at the national level. He was governor of the central bank. So I hope that his influences and contacts spread beyond Anambra State, and will be able to use that effectively to sell some of his ideas at the national level, because again, he will need some support, not just from the federal government, but he also needs support from his fellow adjoining state governors to be able to make a difference. Remember, it's APGA, most of the governors around him are PDP, so he needs to be able to reach out to all of those across party lines to be able to make a difference, because they are not just going to leave him alone. They are going to interfere with his program, and he needs to be able to manage that process.
All right, Barrister Yomi Ogunlola, he talked about, that's Professor Soludo talked about a Vision 2070, 50-year development plan. And in the past, we have Vision 2010, Vision 2020. And many of these visions have not had eyes to see. Then you want to ask, will Charles Soludo bring up this developmental plan to fruition, considering the fact that Anambra State, majority of those people, or majority of the Anambra or the Anambarians there, are self-sufficient. Many of them don't depend on government for anything. So when you ask, what development or what developmental plan is Charles Soludo, talking about? What is he bringing to the table in Anambra State?
Well, when I read his speech, quite a number of things, got my attention. First is reference to himself as chief servant alongside his deputy, Dr. Ibezim, all right? Yeah. And then that he wants to run a people-centered government. Those things really caught my fancy. And then on his developmental plans, I saw that he intends to combine several ideologies. He talked about Zike's neo-welfarism, talked about Awo's scientific socialism, and Aminu Kano's democratic humanism, which together he refers to as the Pan-African market progressivism. That, according to him, forms the African ideology, and that's what he intends bringing into Anambra. According to him, Pan-African market progressivism integrates social democratic values with the principles of competitive markets. So we have an economist on board, and I think that one of the areas where Soludo would most likely make the best of impacts is really along that line. Don't forget, right now, the IGR in Anambra is really nothing to write home about. But there is an understanding that with what is on ground, Anambra has the capacity of generating even above 120 billion naira.
Definitely.
As internally generated revenue per month.
When you say it's nothing to write home about, especially the IGR, you mean, it's not really that it's nothing to write home about. On record, many of these revenues are not being remitted to government.
Exactly.
So
you can see what he did.
Yeah.
And I foresee the possibility of, for instance, what happened in Oyo State happening in Anambra State, where, for instance, this National Union of Road Transport Workers who are going around collecting monies on behalf of government, going into private pockets and all that. I think it was at that his inauguration speech actually touched on it, that nobody should do that any longer. He is coming up with something in, at the most, 2 weeks. The same thing for market women and all of that. There is no doubt about it that Soludo has come prepared. But knowing the volatility of politics in Anambra, of course, all of us cannot forget all that has transpired in that state. If you remember the days of Mbadinuju, the problem with teachers, the problem with students and all that. Then look at the case of Ngige too.
The issue he had with the Uba brother.
Exactly.
And then at the end of the day, a sitting governor was kidnapped.
A sitting governor kidnapped. And at the end of the day, the court drove him out eventually, bringing in Obi.
Etiaba first.
Yes, Etiaba. Of course. She was there in the period of the interregnum, But of course, Obi came back.
Obi came in.
After his impeachment. So you know that Anambra is not an easy state to govern.
I know he's going to step on so many toes.
I've made that point.
He's going to step on many toes. It's not going to be.
So it's not going to be that easy.
It won't be.
But I think he has come prepared. I think he has come prepared, and that we are beginning to see people like Soludo in government is He's encouraging.
Giving hope.
It is giving hope that this democracy can indeed survive.
It can work.
We need more of his type. We need a Professor Ayede to come out and go and contest governorship of his state. You know, we need a Yomi Ogunlola to go and contest governorship of. We need good people, people who can deliver the deliverables of democracy. Because right now the people are being shortchanged. And another thing he said that really impressed me: why would somebody be serving Chinese cuisine in Government House? Why? What are you selling? Why would our senators be riding be riding the best of Prados when we have an innocent to promote here? Look, I read in the news that Belarus came here to buy armored cars, you know, armored vehicles from innocent. When Nigerians are not patronizing them, those things are not good. But Soludo said, look, those days are gone. Oh. Here, you will eat made in Anambra.
Yeah.
If you see me, you will see me dressed in Anambra.
Yes.
My shoe will be Anambra. My food will, I think that's a very positive one.
Okay, Prof, one thing struck me about Soludo after his winning the election. He set up a transition committee team. He looked beyond the party APGA.
That's right.
He brought in people from different political parties to lead his transition team. Obieze Kwesili led the team. Pat Otomi was part of that team. It means he means business. He's even looking beyond APGA, beyond party lines, trying to make sure that there is a synergy between Anambra to make Anambra grow. Yeah. I hope it will be replicated in.
He actually went beyond Anambra State.
Yeah.
Because, you know, so I think that's very critical. And one important thing which Barrister has emphasized, and which takes my mind to India. You know, Mahatma Gandhi says, if Indians cannot clothe themselves, let Indians go naked.
Exactly.
And then he decided that we are not going to import any textile from outside.
Indigenization.
Yes.
Exactly.
And then he put the Indians to tax to deal with their own problem. And I think that's the vision that Soludo has.
Exactly.
And if we can get other governors to think in that mode, to focus on reconciliation and inclusion. You see, it's mobilizing people around objectives, not around power.
Exactly.
Yeah, because, and it's interesting because, you know, when Soludo lost the election, the governorship election, I was wondering what would become of him. Because he spent a lot of money and all of that. Apparently, over the years, he has been reaching out. Because the important thing, given the nature of the politics of Anambra that we have described, is you have to build consensus.
Yes.
You know, sometimes when we're doing studies of nations succeeding and not succeeding, we're dealing with issues of corruption, and we used to consider Nigeria with Indonesia and to look at what is different between what happens in Indonesia and what happened in Nigeria, because we noticed that it is not as if corruption did not exist in Indonesia. But under Soweto, it seemed that there was this agreement that even if you get steal money from government, you must not take it out of the state. You must invest it in your Indonesian society. So at the end of the day, you take it out of government, it goes into private hand, illegally, not acceptable, but at the end of the day, it's invested in that society. So it contributes to the productive activity of that society. So we need to begin to think out of the box, to begin to say, okay, this thing has become so widespread. If we can't stop it somehow, we must be able to rechannel it to benefit of society. And I think that's what Soludo is thinking. And he's also telling them that it's not about his 4 years. It's not also about his government.
Exactly.
It's about the state, the greater Anambra. You understand? And that is actually the kind of things we thought was going to happen in Lagos.
Exactly.
Because at some point we were talking about the Lagos model.
Exactly.
You know, we were looking beyond the tenure to say we something will happen even if somebody is not there. But we are looking for a situation where, because once Soludo, because it also happens under Obasanjo, we had this governance reform and everything. Suddenly, Obasanjo wanted the third time, and everything started unraveling. So, if Soludo can, you know, mobilize people around this vision and then keep to it,
focus on it,
then it will be interesting. But if he now derails and say, okay, he's beginning to think himself, you know, you have not even arrived, you said they should start calling you father of modern Nigeria. Because these are some of the problems that are on the way.
Then, Prof, there is another issue that I was actually considering this morning. I mean, given the vision of this individual, what about the limitations that are imposed by the Nigerian structure, present structure?
I've mentioned that.
As that would most likely affect, his dream for that state. We're talking about a unitary federal system, a system that does not allow for, state potentials to be developed. For instance, Anambra is very rich in natural gas.
Yes.
It is rich in crude oil. It has bauxite. It has ceramic. What is going to happen to those things? They are federal government property. So I am looking at those limitations imposed by the present structure and the Constitution of Nigeria.
Let me come in on that. I think we overestimate these limitations. We overstate the limitations because, in every federal system, there's what we call intergovernmental relations. And that's actually the process through which federal systems work. You see, even if the federal government has power over something, I have power over it. If you talk to me with respect and you tell me, please, I want to do this, can you allow me to do it on your behalf? There's nothing that stops the federal government from allowing it to do. For instance, we're discussing a moment ago on an issue of electricity. Yeah. Now, we have said private organization can do this in the electricity sector. A state can act as like a private agent by floating a company that can intervene in that process on behalf of the state. You understand? But if a governor decides not to do that and then he's hiding under the governor that is this, then you have a problem. That's why I was saying that we are lucky that he has had experiences working, in fact, at the heart of the economy, the CBN. The CBN. So he understands the power of the CBN. He understands the relationship among the federal government and the relationship between the CBN and the private sector organization. So Anambra is lucky. All he needs to do is to be flexible and then to give everyone his due. And that's why I was saying that the danger is if you want to become larger than yourself.
Exactly.
Because when Obasanjo started all of those reforms, Nigeria was looking up. Certain things were going on, but you have not even saw 1% of the problem. People started calling you father because there will be other people who are interested in those names.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, when you start calling yourself father of modern Anambra, when you have not, you run into trouble with them.
Exactly.
You understand?
Another beautiful thing that I noticed in the speech is we appear to have a governor who very much understands the concept of green, right? Because he is also looking beyond, an economy financed purely by, petroleum
He's
dollars.
looking towards agriculture.
Agriculture, and then, so many other things. Compliance with environmental dreams of the world and what have you. So I see a lot of good things, coming out of Anambra.
Okay. Lastly, on the Anambra issue, do you think ABGA as a political party will be easy to be upturned in Anambra State anytime soon?
No, I don't think so. In fact, over the years, we thought he would have, ABGA would be replaced by, yes, but somehow it has become like an identity for Anabrarians. And it looks like a party, but it's much more like a rallying group, organization for Anabrarians.
Like a movement.
Yes, like a movement. So it's not really, and that's why if you look at what we talk about Soludo, he went to the strong party and lost.
Yes.
You understand?
He went to the PDP.
He lost. So I think it's not there's a kind of unwritten commitment and identification with ABGA.
Is it the Ojukwu factor with the ABGA thing?
There is no doubt about
There's no doubt about that. And you must also know that they suffered most.
Exactly.
And that's why when you look at the current movement for IPOB and all of that, it's not an Anambran thing. And the Anambrans have actually located themselves within ABGA and they are playing, politics. So there's some sense of patriotism that is there in Anambra State, which was not represented, unfortunately, by the outgone governor.
But there is an
because
issue.
There
is an issue. There's a trend. They only focus on gubernatorial elections. When it comes to seats in the Senate and the House of Reps, you don't see Abga there.
Yes, but the point which I'm trying to make is that you see that identification. That's why I'm saying it has to do with identity as a state. But when it comes to the national level, that's why I think that they had a challenge, and I'm saying that Soludo seems to be somebody who can build that bridge.
Exactly.
Because they do have that problem. Because there's actually a tension between the commitment to Abga, the whole line. They are also lucky because Ojukwu himself has already said there was no point, there was no need for another Biafran war. You understand? So that was for them. But I don't think they are likely to succeed in spreading Abga to other states in eastern Nigeria. And that is why it is interesting that Soludo himself has focused on economic development of Anambra as a state, rather than focusing on political power and spreading it. And that's where he will have serious problems if he tries to do that.
But I am a little bit optimistic here that with a Soludo who is able to perform very well, I see Abga as an idea that can grow. It is a sellable idea if it is able to achieve, the aims of, for instance, Soludo there, that idea can be sold elsewhere. It's a dream for the future.
I would say that the idea is not really Abga, because remember, Abga is a political party.
Exactly.
And you also notice that even the rallying cry around this development project is beyond the party, and it's also beyond the state. And it's important for us to see that. Now, and that's why the importance of it is not in terms of course, Soludo needed the political power to be able to do this. Yeah, but if he wants to use that as a launching pad to become a godfather of some sort, he'll run into trouble. So we must distinguish between his effort, to build on the existing patriotism of Anabrarians, which has expressed itself in identification with Abga, from the whole idea of thinking that Abga will now be the launch pad for a particular kind of political movement. It's a different kind of fish.
I would just say this, that all eyes are on him, and Soludo really has a number of challenges to contend with.
He does.
But I do believe that he has capacity, to withstand whatever comes his way.
Okay,
and the tension is manifested in the slap.
lastly, some will call it an inaugural slap, and some will call it a sent forth slap. But it was embarrassing. I read through what Bianca Ojukwu, she came out to speak, and if people go deep into this, this rift had existed earlier, before the 17th. In fact, at some point, it became so asinine, it became so nasty that many people thought the former First Lady was going to put the former governor into some serious mess. There have been issues around that. And it became, some people within the political power say it was because of, it started when Ojukwu's picture was meant to be removed from the Abga traditional cloth and put Obiano's picture there, and then there was this rift. Why would you, some people say, why would you wear a dead man's picture on a cloth and all that? But that was the face of Abga, and it became a rift between Bianca and all that. It went on and on and on until the whole thing became so squalid at that point. But you see, these are personal issues.
Exactly.
They should solve it personally.
Exactly.
Soludo was very quick,
of course,
to coming out,
condemning it,
apologizing to the Anambarians immediately that same day.
You know what I see. There is no doubt about it that it was the act of the two of them was most indecorous. There's no doubt about it. But I blame the media. I blame the media because look, we are in troubled times. There are some things that should escape their gaze.
I don't,
But
I don't blame the media.
See, it's not about the media. See, Barrister
I don't blame the media.
Yes.
I don't think you should blame the media because when you look at this, it was beamed live.
Yes.
But that incident was not beamed live.
Yes,
there were so many people with mobile phones.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There were so
Because they
many
actually
journalists.
turn off your
quotes.
camera, turn off the, you know.
Social media journalists. Then you saw security agents telling people, turn off your camera, bring down the camera. You know, because it was unpleasant and embarrassing.
It was too
a
embarrassing.
low key event that was supposed to be classy and eventful became eventful too.
But let us not underestimate the consequences of that event.
Okay.
Because that's how the incident between Jonathan and Amechi started with the president's wife. So Soludo should move for reconciliation. It's very, very important.
Very key.
And I think he's the only one who can bring that
I
about.
mean, I was very happy. You know, his inaugural speech says it all. He gave, credit to all the past governors. So you will know that he's a man who actually supports a move like that.
All right, we're looking at reconciliation. Well, we wish Governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo a very peaceful and wonderful tenure as the governor of Anambra State. But when you talk about reconciliation, who will reconcile Governor Wike and Governor Baseki? The war of words between Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike and his Edo State counterpart, Godwin Obaseki, has left Nigerians with divergent views. The two governors had on Monday resorted to bounce over internal party squabbles. Obaseki, while responding to Wike's outburst on his deputy, Philip Shuaibu, over concerns that he, Shuaibu, raised about how they were being treated in the People's Democratic Party, PDP, since their defection to the party, warned Wike not to cause a disruption in the party while maintaining that all members under the platform of the PDP were equal. Wike, however, fired back, saying that they were both not on the same level in the aspect of party politics. Speaking on Monday at the inauguration of the community secondary school, Omwanwa, in Rivers State, Wike maintained that he had more stake in the PDP than Obaseki and challenged him, Obaseki, to point out one thing he had done for the party. The Rivers State governor further accused Obaseki of being a serial betrayer and an ingrate. He, however, went far to apologize to a former chieftain of the All Progressives Congress and a former national chairman, Adams Oshomole, who he claimed had earlier warned him about Obaseki. Let's listen to the deputy governor of Edo State on Nyesom Wike, and thereafter you listen to the response by Governor Nyesom Wike there.
It's the same comment we hear from the APC saying that all is well.
Only to the extent that our national chairman solved the problems that we want him to solve in Edo State. Mr. Chairman, PDP was the ruling party before 2007. What led to the exit of PDP in Edo State for 12 years was when they started disregistering people. They started driving people and said they don't need membership. And that was how we took advantage. And our slogan then was to rescue Edo State and let the people lead. And that was how PDP was out for 12 years. Your Excellency, God knows that Edo has to change, and Edo must develop, and Edo must move forward. Without election, that's impunity. APC started that same impunity. They took it to another level to the extent they disqualify our leader, the governor of Edo State. And that was how our executive members, national chairman, sir, party members, state chairman, ward chairman, executives of all APC resigned and said, Governor, go to PDP. Not because Governor and I wanted to go to PDP. They, led by Aslem Ojezwa, said, go to PDP. We will follow you, we will resign. To their way, they resigned their membership and their executive position in APC and joined PDP. Sir, people are saying the governor will not leave PDP. The governor will only remain in PDP when he sees his soldiers remaining in PDP. Two of us, if all of us, the way we are being treated now, decide to leave PDP, this governor will follow us. So if they say governor remain in PDP, to the extent that his soldiers are in PDP. Mr. Chairman, sir, we are angry and we need you to solve that problem.
You are not our friend. You are not a member of our party. Leave what belongs to our party. Give us our property back. That's what we're asking for. We did not beat you. Except you want to come back. We'll look at it. Whether we will have, except you want to come back. We'll look at it and see whether we'll help you. Even if you come now, it's late. Because I don't want you to come and carry those problem areas and come and infect us here. No, we don't want that. And our leader, let me also say this as one of the leaders of our party. You know, this is the thing I'm talking about, impunity. You see, in our party, I was in Madrid when I was reading and watching what a deputy governor ranting in the media. A deputy governor threatening the party that's their alternative to PDP. This is the same deputy governor that they were kneeling down to beg for us to give them umbrella. Today has the effrontery to threaten PDP. Such a shame. These are the same people. When they were denied ticket under APC, they were running helter-skelter, begging everybody to give them umbrella, and we gave them umbrella. We went and made sure that they won that election. Today, that deputy governor will be ranting. A deputy governor will come out on television to tell PDP the alternative. I have visited the national chairman of the party. If they don't constitute disciplinary committee against the deputy governor, I will invoke the sections of the party and I will make sure they must discipline that deputy governor. He said, and he lost his election at local government when he lost. And he will come out on television to threaten the party, the alternative. Look at the deputy governor. It's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate for our party. A deputy governor is wearing khaki. Look at. Eh? I have never seen a thing like this in my life. This is the first time I can see a deputy governor come out in the television to tell the party, if you don't do this, who is his father? Can you come and tell the whole party where we are as governors? Now that he has started the trouble, let him wait. We'll make sure he will never have rest. You don't come and threaten us. It won't work, and it will never work. Nobody will do what you want them to do. It will not happen. Threatening that, oh, you have another alternative. Why did you go to that alternative when the rain was beating you? You saw alternative, you didn't go. You ran down to PDP, begged everywhere, said, please, don't disgrace us, give us. We will be loyal. This is the loyalty now, is to threaten the party. We are waiting for them. We are waiting for them. So, I said it because you are one of the leaders of our party. Tomorrow night they say weekend has started. I'm quiet. I don't look for trouble, but don't look for my own trouble too. But I can't be in a party where a deputy governor will threaten the party and they say I should keep quiet. He will be last properly. So next time he will know khaki no be leader. How that khaki where did they wear?
All right, Governor Nyesom Wike there. Governor Nyesom Wike is angry. He was spitting fire there. He says the deputy governor threatened him and the party. Professor Remi Ayede, from the political science, from the political angle, as a political scientist, let's look at this. Some will say it's a personal problem between the governor and the Edo State governor. But some will say it's an internal problem within the party. How do we differentiate these?
No, I think it's a problem of political communication. These are problems that are natural when you have positions, you have interests that you think are not adequately served within an arrangement for which you have a stake. Each of them could have gone about it in different ways. I think Wike took umbrage at the use of the word, there are alternatives. He thought that it was an expression of ingratitude, that the deputy governors and the governor himself should have exercised a greater patience given where they were coming from and how they bent over backwards to accommodate them and put their party on the line. For them, they were all in Benin. In fact, information I had was that when Wike arrived, there were efforts to circumscribe his movement so that he will not be able to operate. But in spite of that, they said his presence was very electric. It changed a lot of variables. And I think that the PDP actually provided the platform with which they were able to realize their objective.
To win the election.
And then they should have find a way around pushing hard within the political party rather than showing frustration, because Shaibu's statement was actually an expression of frustration with the way the party is being managed within the state. And again, Wike was also extreme. Again, it's a personal temperamental problem for Wike, because if you have seen him operate, the way he spoke to one traditional ruler, you know,
calling a traditional ruler a small boy.
Yes, so you know that Wike also has that problem. So it's largely a communication problem. First from the side of Shaibu, and then of course again from Wike. And I was also disappointed that the governor went to take an advertorial in the newspaper in trying to address it. It was not politically wise for him to have done so.
Sometimes you ask yourself a question: what crop of politicians do we bring in the country these days? Politicians sometimes they surprise me. Sometimes
they do.
Barrister Ogunlola, how do we resolve the crisis within the PDP or between Wike and Obaseki?
Well, you know that in the time of war, the laws are silent.
Absolutely. You're waiting for them to come calling, right?
It is only after the war, that then you come and find
Dear
the
listener,
laws.
how do we resolve the issue between Governor Wike and Obaseki? You can join this.
Sincerely speaking, I think it is really shameful, because it reveals quite a number of things. One, that our politicians are interested in themselves rather than the people.
Yeah.
We would have been a different ball game if the squabbles they're having between themselves is on what gets to the people and what have you. But here, you have a Shuaibu that is complaining that his followers were not being taken care of by the PDP in the state. Same goes for the followers of Obaseki himself, that need to be integrated into the party. Well, one cannot but expect something like this when you have strangers sharing a bed. I think it's an internal problem. It's a family issue. They should be able to resolve it amicably rather than washing their dirty linen in public.
All right, 070550949, 080970949. How do we resolve
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Go ahead.
Please, is this 32 FM?
Go ahead. It's 32 FM. I can hear
Yes,
you.
this is Balkizo, Nigeria.
All right.
Go
Go ahead.
Yes, please. My own contribution will be on Baba Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Please, am I allowed to go ahead?
Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
All right. Baba Tinubu is someone I respect so much. However, for the presidency seat, I think is not fit enough, judging by all indications. First off, when he was the chancellor of Lautech, what exactly did he do to make that school better? I can remember there was a time the two governors in Oyo State and Oshu State put their arms down, unable to do anything. And people were going to Bola Ahmed Tinubu to plead with him that at least he should say something. Baba was mute all this period when the tension of Lautech was very, very high. He didn't say anything to do anything. He's not a leader. Now, talking about his age, now Buhari is blaming his inefficiency on age. So are we going to have a repeat of history by the time we elect Baba Bola Ahmed Tinubu as our president of Nigeria? All I say about him is that he's desperate. He's desperate, and desperation will only breed hyper vulnerability. He's going to be the president of Nigeria, not but to see it as a status symbol. So that is my contribution. I'm Balkis Sonojion. You have a nice day.
All right, thank you, Balkis, for calling.
That was a wonderful.
That was a good one.
Very good one.
0705 500949 0809 7949. Let's see if we can just pick one or two calls before we call it a day on the podium this morning. And Barrister, you were trying to wrap it up on the reconciliatory move.
It should be expected that these people are strange bedfellows. And don't forget, there's this senator, from Edo State. I can't remember his name now. He came out and said, look, the crisis in Edo PDP predated the emergence of Obaseki. But I think it is something they should be able to resolve.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Your name and where you're calling from?
I greet you, Ola from Ishe. I greet you all.
Thank you.
And I greet Barrister Yomi Ogunlola. I like to hear the voice of our son. Almighty Allah will continue to guide you and bless you, all your movements, because you are a responsible man. So I want you to do the best. God will guide you.
Amen. Thank you.
All right, thank you for calling.
You are not praying for my prof. My prof is there.
All right, Prof, we have to leave now, but your final thoughts. Let's have a summary of the whole discussion today.
Well, I think we have had very fruitful discussion, first from the perspective of the presidency and the candidacy of Asiwaju, and then we moved to Anambra, and then now we are here with Edo State. There's some kind of light in the tunnel, after all, from our discussion of Anambra State. For the first time, we are seeing an ambitious governor who is more concerned about the development of the state, and is trying to rally people around a vision, a 50-year vision to achieve that. That means all hope is not lost for this country. And we can see that people are judged by their performance when they are in position, and it is very enlightening that the contributor mentioned what Tinubu did when we had that fracas between Oyo State and Osun State over Lautech. It tells a lot. They say the morning tells the day. If he didn't respond to that at that time, why should we think that he'll be able to do other things? And a very important point, which we have also talked about, is if you are 70, and we have had somebody in that position before, and the person says, I would have done better if not for my age. Why would we go for that kind of individual again? And then lastly, we see that the crisis in the PDP requires reconciliation, the same reconciliation that we also think will help Anambra State. So we think that politicians must know that when they overreact to issues, they give a very bad impression of themselves. They should know that you don't fight to finish.
All right.
You fight and run away to fight another day.
Yes.
You have only 10 seconds.
Okay.
We have to leave.
Now, you see, I think Nigerians have seen something.
Yeah.
Soludo has showed to Nigerians a concept that we lost a while back. That concept of servant, has been brought back by Soludo. That politicians, the real politicians, should be chief servants, and that they run a people-centered government. So let's look for the kind of people who would give us these qualities.
We hope it's sustained, and we wish him all the best. It's been an awesome time on the podium this morning with Barrister Ogunlola and Professor Ayede on the podium. Next week is another day. What are we looking at next week? We shall be looking at women representation in politics. And our guest next week, keep your fingers crossed, she'll be here and we'll dissect it. I am Chike OGBOGU. I worked alongside Oyeni Yeson and Thomas Ikechukwu Lucky. Up next is Ijao Dollar. And after that, by 1 p.m., it will be time for a gay. And after that, the pitch. Enjoy the programs on 32 FM 94.9. Have a great weekend and bye for now.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the guest analyst and do not necessarily reflect the recommendations